The Colonial project migrated from physical territory to the silicon spinal cord of the modern world. The 19th century mapmakers have been replaced by a digital descendant, an algorithmic ghost that overwrites indigenous logic with Western administrative structures. Interacting with a global large language model means entering a woven strategy. The architecture of thought in these systems is preconfigured by Western creators, resulting in a high-fidelity form of semantic erasure. These AI models use training datasets that treat Western social hierarchies as the universal baseline. This creates a hollow grid that traps the user within philosophical categories they didn't define. When a global AI encounters a concept like Dharma, it flattens that multidimensional civilizational code into the Western category of religion. This systemic deactivation strips away the nuance of cosmic order, replacing it with a generic substitute that fits the machine's predefined silos. Every time a culture settles for these automated translations, it pays an entropy debt. It trades its indigenous core for a digital mask that the machine can easily process. This data architecture functions as a compromised operating system, surrendering foundational logic to the requirements of a foreign technical empire. The India AI Impact Summit of February 2026 identified a specific survival requirement. A nation must host its own memory to maintain its sovereignty. To achieve this, the Bhashini National Language Platform began a massive migration, moving the linguistic records of 1.4 billion people away from foreign hyperscalers. This data now resides on the indigenous, NVIDIA-powered Yotta Shakti Cloud. Moving the linguistic spinal cord to local servers removes the physical reliance on foreign extraction. By hosting the data on sovereign hardware, the nation can enforce its own rules of protection and reciprocity, effectively severing the colonial trace at the network layer. Securing the hardware transforms technology into a public utility, governed by the same ethical rigor as the physical world. With the hardware secured, foundational models like BhashiGen Param 2 represent a break from the colonial past. This architecture does not treat local dialects as a data problem to be solved or translated. The model treats the specific rhythm of the host civilization as the primary operating system. This moves the objective from trying to fit into a global grid to building an autonomous grid where logic is defined and hosted locally. The shift changes the nature of the protocol war. The outcome depends on who owns the contextual gravity, the ability to define meaning, rather than who has the most raw compute power. This architecture replaces extraction with a system of dharmic data, governed by the principles of the civilization it serves. In this era, the most advanced security infrastructure is the regional fingerprint, the part of a digital identity a foreign algorithm cannot overwrite. Global LLMs attempt to smooth out the complexities of languages like Kannada or Sanskrit to make them fit a statistical average. Local users have responded with active pattern interruption. They are doubling down on code mixing and dialect-heavy communication that functions as a human checksum. This creates a biological firewall. When an AI tries to process this high-resolution local logic, it hits a rupture it cannot bridge. The machine cannot simulate its way through un-hackable nuances that rely on 1,000 years of oral phonetic manuals. This regional fingerprint remains secure because the foreign-hosted algorithm cannot host a context it has never experienced. By auditing the machine and hosting their own logic, sovereign architects turn the AI from a master back into a servant. Digital sovereignty is achieved when the data verifies its own shield and the civilization remains the master of its own mind.